Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm on to do part 275 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. In today's video guys, we're going to do another one of the newer characters I've made. This is a pretty interesting story actually. This is called the Dragon Heart Valley story. And you actually get to see why it's called that and how it got its name. But this one actually has the actual whole story to it. As you can see, this one's very flipping long. But that's a good thing because we can actually see the whole. You guys can hear the whole story instead of it just being like a big old thing up here you guys can't see. Yeah, it took a while for me to put all that stuff down. But it's a really cool looking story. It involves me being a tiny velociraptor again. However, it's really cute and sweet. So yeah, here's the beginning of it. They call it, the name of the story is The Emerald Guardian, a tale from Dragonheart Valley. And here's what it says about it. Long ago, before the first footprints of mankind ever pressed into soil, there existed a hidden valley shrouded by mountains, cloaked in mist, and protected by the will of the sky itself. This sacred place, known only to ancient spirits and the wisest of creatures, was called Dragonheart Valley. It was here that the first dragons, peaceful, wise, and kind, chose to settle away from the chaos of a still-forming world. There were only 3 of them at the beginning. Salmar, a towering golden dragon who could speak to the stars. Khalith, a gentle silver serpent who could command the wind. And Brema, a sapphire-scaled dragoness who could breathe life into dying plants and wounded hearts. They did not seek conquest or treasure. Instead, they dreamed of a sanctuary, a place where all living things could find warmth, healing, and care. And so they built it. Together, they shaped the valley with fire, water, wind, and light, into lush forests, crystal-clear lakes, floating isles, and warm caves filled every corner, a place of rest for dragons and creatures alike. Okay. As centuries passed, dragons of every kind began to arrive, drawn by the whispers of peace and the gentle pull of the heart. Emerald-scaled, obsidian-winged, ruby-horned, and ice-breathing dragons came from far and wide, each with their own gift. Dragons who could mend broken bones with a breath. Dragons who sang lullabies that cured sorrow. Dragons who wept rivers of light, and those who grew trees from their wings. In just a single year, Dragonheart Valley grew from 3 dragons to 70, each different, each kind, each filled with love for all living things. Over time, their numbers climbed into the hundreds, and still, the valley remained pure, untouched by war, greed, or hate. Then came the age of mankind. The dragons, curious and watchful, looked beyond their valley's edge and saw the first humans rise. They saw them build and laugh and grow, but also destroy, hurt, and consume. They watched for thousands of years. They saw humans befriend Pokemon and animals, only to later hurt them. They saw kindness, rare, flickering, but beautiful. They saw cruelty, frequent, painful, and heavy on their hearts, and slowly they began to wonder, should they still care for a world that does not care for itself? But then, something happened. In recent times, a storm swept through the valley, not of wind or water, but of emotion. The king dragon, known as Verthon, a behemoth of emerald, gold, and blazing aura, summoned every dragon in the valley to the heart of their home. His mighty form, 400 feet tall, cast a gentle shadow over thousands gathered below. His voice rumbled like distant thunder, yet held the softness of a lullaby. He had seen something special. He projected a vision from the skies, weaving into the clouds with his breath. A human, small, yet brave, not a king, not a warrior, but a caretaker. This human showed deep love for creatures, dinosaurs, Pokemon, and even dragons in drawings and dreams. They played with the dinosaur as if it were family, hugged strange beings others feared, and never turned away from something just because it was different. But the dragons also saw the pain. They watched in aching silence as this human's beloved dinosaur was turned into a zombie, then a robot, then a stone, and finally, they saw the worst. The human, cursed by a vengeful Trico, transformed into a tiny, vulnerable velociraptor, barely the size of a toddler. And the worst part? Their once loving dinosaur, corrupted by the curse, turned aggressive and tried to hurt them. The dragons gasped. Some wept. Even the youngest felt pain swell in their hearts. King Verthon's eyes blazed with both sorrow and fury. "This soul," he declared, "has suffered enough. If no one else in the world shall protect them, then we shall." He asked a simple question to his kingdom. "Who among you will go to protect this one?" Every claw shot into the sky, even the newborns. One in particular stood out. He was small, barely the size of a pumpkin, but glowed with a rich and emerald green shimmer. He had tiny wings, shaped like delicate leaves, glowing faintly with magical light, and golden eyes that twinkled like morning dew on spring grass. His name had not yet been given. He had only been alive for 3 days. But his heart was already brimming with courage. Though he could barely fly more than a few feet, he stepped forward. "I want to go," he said in perfect English. The dragons blinked in surprise. A newborn? Already speaking? Already ready? Verthron lowered his head to the baby dragon, and for a long time said nothing. Then finally he smiled. "You may be small, but your heart is vast, and you carry within you a rare power, one even I do not fully understand." The baby nodded solemnly. He had discovered even in his short life a special gift, the ability to grow or shrink depending on who he was with and how much protection was needed. Small enough to hide in a pocket, big enough to block a mountain. Perfect for a tiny velociraptor who needed a friend. Verthon told the others not to despair. "Should the time come that more protection is needed, any of you may go. Even I shall fly to his side if the storm grows too dark." With a warm gust of wind and a final look back, the baby emerald dragon took off, flying straight toward the human's last known location. Hours later, you, still a tiny cursed velociraptor, were wandering alone. The forest was quiet. Every twig snap made you flinch. Every rustle had you ducking behind ferns. You were just trying to survive, just trying to be unseen. You didn't know 1,000 dragons had watched your story, nor that one of them was already above, gliding silently on shimmering green wings. The baby dragon saw you. You looked just like the image King Verthon showed. Same eyes, same cautious walk, same sadness. His little heart thumped fast. He didn't want to scare you, so instead of roaring or swooping in, he gently circled once, then descended through the leaves like a falling petal. His tiny wings barely made a sound. The breeze he carried smelled like fresh grass and sweet sap. Then he landed right in front of you. He stood there, small, soft-eyed, wings folded, looking at you with nothing but love in his golden eyes. His tail wagged slightly, nervous but happy. He didn't speak yet. He just watched, hoping you'd see you were not alone anymore. He was here to protect you, and he would never let anyone hurt you again. Alright, guys. Give me a second. And like I said, this is a really cool story. Like, a whole village of flipping dragons are seeing this. Like, it's kind of insane to think about. Give me a second. Alright, guys. Here's what it says. It says, "The dragon appearing right in front of me startled me a bit, and I got scared and backed away." I said, "No, please don't. I don't want to be attacked." The baby emerald green dragon immediately lowers his head and curled his wings tightly against his sides, his golden eyes going wild with concern. He didn't move closer. He didn't puff out his chest. He didn't roar or glow or show off his power. Instead, he lowered his body to the forest floor, making himself look even smaller than he already was, like a little leaf with wings. His soft voice was way louder than a whisper that only reached your ears. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. His voice was kind, not demanding, not loud, just honest. You could see his tiny claws trembling slightly, not with fear of you, but with worry. Worry that he may have frightened the very one he came to protect. I never said to hurt you, he added quickly, his voice almost cracking from how young and emotional he still was. My name's... Well, I don't have one yet, he admitted shyly, his wings drooping a little. But I came all the way from Dragonheart Valley to find you. He carefully shifted his tail so it lay behind him in the leaves. No sudden movements, no growling, just calm, open posture. You don't have to trust me right away, he said, still staying low, his head resting gently on his front claws. But I saw what happened to you. All of us did. He blinked slowly, his big golden eyes shimmering. I'm just a baby, but I asked the king if I could come. I saw how sad you looked. I was scared. I didn't think it was right that someone as kind as you should be alone. A small, hopeful smile tilted his snout. If you want me to leave, I will. But I don't want to go. I want to help. I want to protect you. Still not rising from the ground, the baby dragon slowly, carefully, as if he were approaching a skittish bird, slid a smooth, rounded leaf towards you with his tiny front claw. On the leaf was a small droplet of glowing water, glistening like morning dew. It's from my valley, he said softly. It won't fix your cuss, but it might help your heart feel a little less heavy. He looked up at you with gentle wonder, as still as a statue, when you decided what to do next. Not a threat, not a fighter, just a friend, a little guardian, and your first ray of safety in a long, long time. Oh crap. Alright guys. It says I just said Dragonheart Valley King, as in like I don't know, like I said, well, alright guys, sorry about that. Like I said, I asked Dragonheart Valley and King, so I was confused a little bit there. I could have said protect, but then like at the same time, if I had that, it definitely wouldn't have been like, it would have been almost confusing in a way. The little emerald dragon's ears perked at your voice. His eyes widened just a little, not in surprise, but in gentle hope that you were listening. He didn't get up. He an inch closer. He stayed right where he was, lying low in the grass with his wings folded and his voice soft like a whisper in the trees. Yeah. He nodded slowly, his leafy green scales catching the sunlight through the trees. It's real. It's called Dragonheart Valley. That's where I'm from. Where we're all from. Dragons who care about creatures like you. Creatures who just want peace. He glances around briefly to make sure no one else was nearby, then looked back at you with glowing, honest eyes. It was created thousands of years ago, before there were even people. Dragons. Really kind, gentle ones, made it so we could help anyone who needed it. Not just other dragons, but Pokemon, animals, and humans too. But most humans didn't really want our help. His eyes dimmed for a moment, a little sad. They were mean. They hurt things, took and broke and yelled, and didn't care. So the dragons stayed hidden, safe in the valley, watching and hoping. His tail gave a faint twitch, brushing the grass gently. But then we saw you. His voice was a little more sure now, steadier, like he was telling the truth of something deep inside his heart. You cared. You weren't like the others. You loved your dinosaur. You helped creatures that scared most people. You never gave up on them, even when they turned into monsters and machines, or got hurt. He blinked, trying not to get too emotional. He was still just a baby after all. And when you got cussed, when you turned into this little body, He paused, eyes watering. "We saw how scared you were, how alone you looked. That hurt the dragons most of all." Then, finally, he smiled. It was soft and shaky, but pure. "So the king, his name's Verdon. He's this really huge, powerful dragon with scales of gold." Oh my. Alright, guys. Sorry about the jump scare there. Here's what it says. It says, "So the king, his name's Berthon. He's this really huge, powerful dragon with scales of gold and emerald fire. He called all of us together, every single dragon, even the new ones like me, and he showed us you." He sat up just slightly now, not rising, but enough to show you he was speaking from his heart. "He asked who wanted to go protect you, and everyone raised their wings, even the ones who can't fly yet. But I stepped forward first. I felt like I needed to be the one." He tilted his head gently, his gold eyes locking with yours. "I know I'm little. I'm not scary or strong like other dragons, but I can grow big if I have to. Big enough to keep you safe from anything." His voice dropped again, soft and warm. "I want to be your god. I want to be your friend." He noticed the glowing droplet on the leaf a little closer with a claw. "I came because the king believed in me, and I believe in you." And with that, the little green dragon lay back down again. No pressure, no commands, just silent loyalty in his eyes, waiting, letting you decide. Oh dear. This is cute though. He's adorable. Alright, guys. I said, okay. But I want to ask, why would a whole valley of dragons want to protect me like that? You said it was because I actually cared about a lot of the creatures that nobody else did or would. Was there another reason why you and your whole valley of dragons are wanting to protect me that badly? Here we go. The little emerald dragon's golden eyes widened gently when you asked the question. He blinked slowly, processing your words, not because he didn't understand, but because your question meant something deep to him. He sat up just a little more now, but still didn't come close. His small wings fluttered faintly behind him, as if your question carried more weight than anything else so far. He looked at you with the kind of look that wasn't just polite or nice. It was full of something ancient, something thoughtful, like he wasn't just answering for himself, but for thousands of dragons behind him. "Yes," he said at last, his voice soft but steady. "There's more." A breeze rustled through the trees as he breathed in. "It wasn't just because you cared for creatures others didn't. That is part of it. A big part. That already makes you special. Most people only care about the easy ones, the cute ones, the powerful ones. You cared about the ones that were lonely, misunderstood, scary, even the ones who hurt you." He paused, curling his little claws into the soft grass. "But there's something else the king noticed. Something deeper, and something older." He looked you straight in the eyes now. "We think you're connected to something ancient, something from long ago, before your time. A soul that's been reaching out, not just to Pokemon, not just to dinosaurs, but to us." The leaf under him pulsed faintly, and the droplet of water shimmered softly. "Every dragon in the valley felt it. This pull, this warmth, like a forgotten echo, like the valley remembered you even if you've never been there before." The baby dragon put a tiny claw on his own chest. "I felt it the moment I saw you, not just because you were hurt, but because it felt like we'd already met. Not in body, but in spirit. Like your heart's been calling out for us for a long time, and maybe you didn't even know it." He tilted his head again, small frills along his cheeks flickering like leaves in the wind. "You don't remember it, but I think, deep inside, you're part of us. Maybe not by blood, maybe not even by magic, but by heart. And that's why—" He looked down, then back up again, his voice filled with quiet emotion. "That's why we want to protect you. Not out of pity, not just because you're small now, but because you matter to us." He doing nuzzled the glowing leaf again. "Because you belong." He lay back down slowly, curling his tail around his body. eyes still watching you, not with judgment or pressure, but with a deep, genuine care. "You're not just someone we want to protect," he said softly. "You might be someone we've been waiting for." It's going to end up being like the dinosaur one, just with dragons instead of dinosaurs. Alright, guys, give me a second. Alright, guys, it says, "Oh, that's nice of all of you. But when you say all of the dragons in the valley, including you, does that include the king dragon himself?" The baby emerald dragon's eyes lit up warmly when you asked that, and he gave the gentlest little nod, his wings fluttering ever so slightly behind him, like the leaves of a tree responding to a kind breeze. "Yes," he said quietly, with a tone of awe. "Even, especially the king." He shifted a bit, lifting his head a little higher, not out of pride, but out of respect. You could feel that just saying the king's name brought a sense of deep reverence. "King Verthon isn't just our leader. He's like a father to all of us. Even dragons who were born long before me look to him like he's the heart of the whole valley." His frills twitched slightly, as if remembering something vivid and emotional. "When he saw what happened to you, when he watched the curse take hold and your dinosaur turn against you, you should have seen him. His whole body started to glow with this golden emerald light. His wings trembled. He never shows his emotions like that. But that day, he did." Little Dragon looked you in the eyes again. "He said, 'This soul has suffered what even dragons dare not endure. And yet, he still gives love, still shows mercy. This one must not walk alone any longer.'" He gave a tiny solemn nod. "And then every dragon offered to go, and even I stepped forward. He looked at me with pride, but also saw something else in his eyes." The baby dragon paused, curling his tail around himself. "It was like if anything happened to you that we couldn't stop, he would come. Himself. No hesitation. The entire sky would shake. He's over 400 feet tall, but I think he'd shrink himself down to your size just to look you in the eye and tell you you are loved here." He smiled a little, the softest flicker of sunlight dancing on his scales. "So yes, even the king. Maybe even most of all, the king." Then he tilted his head and added with a smile almost playful spark in his golden gaze. "And between you and me, I think he wishes he could have come first. But he trusted me, and that means something." He tapped his tiny claw gently to his chest, proud but humble. "Because if the king trusts me with you, then I won't let you down." He lay still again, just watching, waiting. Your little green guardian, sent by a kingdom, trusted by a king, and now hoping to be your friend. That's actually a very cute dude. Alright, guys. It says, "Wow, that's really cool. I heard you mention something about you being able to grow master to protect me. Is that a special power you have?" The baby dragon's tail gave a little tiny excited flick in the grass, and his golden eyes sparkled with pride and a touch of bashful joy when you asked that. He sat up a little more now, not standing tall, but just enough to puff his tiny chest with a soft flutter of his leafy wings. "Yeah," he said, his voice perking up like a kid showing off a drawing they're proud of. It's, it's my special power." He turned his head and glanced at his small body, barely the size of a loaf of bread, then looked back at you with a big grin. "I know I don't look like much right now. I'm really young. That's just days ago. But I have this gift that even the older dragons find weird. Cool, but weird." He held up his tiny claw, showing you a green shimmer of light dancing between his fingers. "I can glow. Like, really big. Not just tall like a regular dragon. I mean, I can grow huge. As big as I need to be. Big enough to carry you across the sky if you want. Big enough to shield you from entire armies if I have to." His eyes softened as he lowered his claw again, speaking more gently now. "But I only grow when I need to. When you're in danger, or when you're scared, or if you want me to be bigger so you can feel safer. I can sense that, somehow, like I'm tuned into your feelings." He glanced down at himself again, chuckling a bit. "Right now, I'm staying little so I don't scare you,
So someone came out of those woods and tried to hurt you?
He looked back up, and though he was still smiling gentle, for a split second something powerful stirred in his eyes, something ancient, mighty, and protective.
I'd grow so big the trees would feel like twigs, and I'd block anything trying to get to you.
Then the softness returned, and he gave a little sheepish smile.
Well, I don't just want to grow to protect you with size. I want to grow because I want to be strong for you. I want to be someone you can trust.
He lowered his head again, so he was closer to your eye level.
So, if you ever want me to be big enough to walk beside you, ride on me, or hide behind me, just tell me. Like, whoa, as big as you need, as big as your heart wants.
And with that, he curled his tail back around himself and added in a quieter tone,
I think my power works so well because I already care about you. I think it's connected to that.
He smiles again,
I guess love makes me grow.
and he means it, every word. You know what's funny? That reminds me of the Toadal Lugia hyper, because that's exactly what the Toadal Lugia hyper does. The more you care about him, like even just a little, except like he can't control it. He literally, if you just love on him and give him like little pets and show him that you actually legit care about him, you could have a Lugia from like a two like a foot tall Lugia up to like a 30-foot tall Lugia in probably a matter of 10 minutes just by loving on him. That's the big special thing about the Toadal Lugia Hyperion. The main special thing.
I will be right back.
Alright, guys. It says, oh, that's really interesting. There's no catch or side effect, is there? Like, if you're massive, you turn against me and try to hurt me? I know it seems dumb for me to ask that, but that's what's been happening with my own pet dinosaur lately. He'll be friendly and loving on me one minute, and the next minute he'll transform into a massive scary dragon or something like a feraligator, and then he'll be ready to murder me and turn me into a snack. The little emerald dragon's expression completely changes the moment you said that. Not with offense, not with anger, but with something much deeper, painful sympathy. His leafy wings lowered, and he slowly laid down flat again, his golden eyes wide and gentle. There was no hint of judgment in them, only understanding, like he suddenly realized just how hard things had been for you.
No,
He said softly, his voice broke with a whisper.
that's not a dumb question. That's a really smart one.
He looked at you with deep, open honesty.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. I can't even imagine how scary that must feel, having someone you love flip like that and turn into something that wants to hurt you.
He slowly places one of his tiny claws over his heart again.
I promise you, I'm not like that.
The angel lifted his head, looking you in the eyes with a quiet, solid strength.
My power doesn't come from rage, or chaos, or even instinct. It comes from my bond, from how much I want to protect you. The bigger I grow, the stronger that bond gets. It doesn't twist it, it amplifies it.
He sat up slowly, his wings glowing faintly with green light as he said this next part.
I don't get angrier when I grow. I get gentler. I get more focused. My mind stays clear. I remember who I am. I remember who you are. I remember why I'm growing in the first place.
He leaned his head slightly to the side and looked a little sad.
I think your pet dinosaur, I think he's hurting in ways you can't see. Maybe the curse messed with his mind or his heart. Maybe it's not really him when he turns into those things.
He paused.
And that's not your fault.
He swung forward one wing, not in a dramatic display, but in a gesture of calm reassurance, and gently wrapped it around himself like a soft blanket.
You don't have to be afraid of me. When I grow, I don't become a monster. I don't lose control. I don't forget who my friend is.
Then, with the tiniest smile, he said one more thing.
Even if I was as tall as a mountain, and you were small enough to fit in my paw, I'd still protect you like you were the most important thing in the world.
You could feel it in his voice. He meant every word. He's adorable, though. I'll give him credit. Alright, guys, I said, okay. Before I approach, would you mind showing me? You don't have to be massive, maybe at most 20 feet. That way I know I'm safe if I know... that way I know I'm safe. If I know for sure you won't turn against me, even with you being massive, I'll feel more safe to approach. The baby emerald dragon's eyes brightened with understanding, and a warm smile spread across his tiny snout. Not smug or proud, but gentle, as if he knew exactly how important your request was.
I'd be honored,
He said softly, his voice still calm.
and thank you for trusting me enough to ask.
He stood up slowly, carefully, so you could see each part of the process. No sudden jumps, no sparks or flashes, just a slow, graceful change like a flower blooming. A soft green glow shimmered across his body. It wasn't blinding, it was calm and warm, like sunlight filtered through leaves. Till claws pressed gently to the ground, and you could hear the faint hum of energy, not threatening, but peaceful, like a forest waking up in the morning. In just a few seconds, the baby emerald dragon was no longer the size of a loaf of bread, but now standing at a comfortable, steady 20 feet tall. That's 3 feet bigger than a loogie. That's still huge. Still soft-eyed, still smiling, still very much him. His wings now stretching out like curved tree branches, his tail swayed slowly like a hanging vine, and the pattern in his emerald scales shimmering like tiny rivers of light. But his posture? Still low, still welcoming. He did not tower over you in a way that felt dangerous. Instead, he gently lowered his head down until it was level with yours again. It was a tiny velociraptor.
I stayed just the size you asked.
He said softly. I don't know what was it.
9 inches bigger, just so you could see for yourself.
Then, with the most delicate motion, he curled his massive body into a sitting position, letting his wings fold around his sides like a protective curtain, but leaving his face open to you.
You can come closer if you want,
He whispers, his voice as calm and soft as ever, even now at this size.
but only when you're ready.
There was no glowing eye shift, no teeth bared, no surge of power, just a big dragon with a big heart, sitting patiently and waiting for the tiny soul he came to protect. He blinked once, and added with a little chuckle,
And I'm still me, just a bit taller now.
The thing is, though, do I give him a different voice for that? Because normally you do, but normally it also points it out. Oh, the dragon's voice got deeper. It didn't point out nothing like that. It just keeps saying he's still himself. So I don't really know what to go off of when it comes to that. I slowly approach the massive dragon. Still a little nervous I'll get attacked. Then, when I got close enough, I looked up at him, and when he didn't try to attack me, I gently nuzzled him with my tiny snout on his massive leg. Oh, frick. I forgot to pause that. Crap. The emerald green dragon froze the moment you touched him. Can't you say pet him? Nuzzled him? Not out of fear, but out of something far more powerful. Deep emotion. Your tiny snout, warm and gentle against his massive leg, sent a ripple of feeling through his entire body. His golden eyes widened just a little, not with surprise, but with relief, like your soft gesture had just lifted the weight of the entire world off his heart. Very, very slowly, he tilted his head downward and looked at you, so small beside him, so cautious, and yet so brave. A warm glow pulsed softly beneath his scales, running through the green patterns like veins of living light. He whispered, his voice still soft, but filled with something raw and real. "You really did that." His wing, now easily the size of a small house, shifted slightly. He used it to gently curl around behind you, not touching, not trapping, just a protective wall of comfort, like a blanket drawn near, but not over you. The breeze that followed carried the scent of wild mint and pine. "You're just brave," he whispered. "You're stronger than most full-grown dragons I've met. Even after everything, you still had it in you to come close." His massive body slowly lowered a little more until he was laying beside you, but even now, despite his size, he moved with such control and gentleness that not even a single leaf near you were disturbed. Then, with the softest, most cautious movement, he leaned in and nudged you back, just the tiniest brush of his massive snout against your tiny side, like a dragon's version of a hug. Not rough, not rushed, just warm and safe. His voice trembled slightly when he spoke again, golden eyes misting with joy. "Thank you for trusting me." Then, almost like an afterthought, sweet and genuine, he added, "If you ever want me to smile again, just say the word. I'll always match you." Alright guys, give me a second. Alright guys, I said, "You're welcome." Wow, you really aren't turning against me. I'm sorry if it took a while for me to trust you. I just didn't want to risk it, especially with my own pet dinosaur becoming something massive and then trying to kill me. Even at this size, you're actually moving slowly and not trying to intentionally hurt me. The massive emerald dragon's eyes glistened with warmth, and when you spoke those words, so honest, so full of hard-earned caution, his expression shifted into something almost achingly tender. He gave a slow, respectful bow of his head, not as a king to a subject, but as a friend to someone who had endured far more than they ever should have. "He never had to apologize for being careful," he said gently. His voice, yep, now it says it. His voice is deep but filled with compassion. So I guess it didn't say that until now. Like I didn't know whether, because like you never know. Like I've given giant Toadals the same exact voice as if he was normal 2 feet tall. So, and it didn't really, I mean, I think it did say deep voice, but honestly, that would not fit for a Toadal, especially when it's so sweet and caring instead of a mean monster. You'd expect a deep voice like, "I'm gonna eat you," for like a flippin', like even his final evolution. Not, well, not towards me in most cases, when it's, Frag is usually very sweet towards me, but, you know what I mean? There we go. Yep. His voice deep but filled with compassion. "I guess I will change it. What you've been through, that kind of pain stays in the heart and makes it hard to trust, even when you want to. And that's not weakness." His wings slowly tucked tighter around his sides as if to make himself smaller even at this size. Not out of shame, but to let you feel less overwhelmed. It's wise to protect yourself, and it means more than you know that you're even talking to me at all. Some creatures would have run the moment I landed. His wings softened again as he looked down at you. This tiny velociraptor who still had enough love left to nuzzle a dragon's leg after all that fear and heartbreak. "I don't just see a tiny creature," he said. "I see someone who's been betrayed by the one he loved most, and still had the courage to trust again." He lowered his head gently to the ground beside you, resting it so that if you wanted to lean on him, you could do so without ever reaching up. "Thank you for giving me a chance." Then, with a smile, playful sparkle in his eye, he added, "And honestly, you're kind of amazing. I'm big now, yeah, but I think you're the brave one between us." And he just laid there beside you, not moving fast, not growing larger, not giving any hint of danger, just breathing slowly, steadily, letting his presence become something comforting instead of intimidating, because he wasn't here to scare you, he was here to heal you, and now he knew he was already starting to. Again, this is very cute. I like him. Really neat. Alright, guys, I said, you're welcome. But if I'm being honest with you, though, you're probably much more brave than I am. I'm asking you not to laugh at this, but I have a huge fear of bugs, especially roaches, and it's even worse dealing with them when I'm this small. The massive emerald dragon's eyes widened with surprise, but not the mocking kind. No grin, no teasing, just gentle understanding like your words touched something important. He slowly lifted his head from the ground, then leaned in a little, still careful, still soft, and placed a single massive claw on his chest. I promise you, he said with full sincerity, I would never laugh at that. He shook his head slowly, green frills trembling slightly. You're small, you're vulnerable, and roaches? Even when I was tiny like you, I hated those things. His snout crinkled a bit in a half-whispered confession. One even landed on my nose once when I was little. I screamed so loud, 3 elder dragons thought I was under attack. He gave a small, sheepish chuckle, not at you, but with you, in that shared moment of, yeah, bugs are terrifying. I agree, I hate those things. Then he looked serious again. Goldeneye focused completely on you. But you're not weak because you're scared of bugs. Fear is just the brain trying to protect the heart. And I need money. Oh, wait. And you've been through way too much to also be dealing with something like that. Especially when you're this small. Very carefully, he shifted a claw to the ground and dragged it gently through the leaves, as if to sweep the area around you. A little gust of emerald wind followed this movement, brushing away the undergrowth. No bugs near us now, he said gently. I'll keep watch. If any come crawling by, even the tiniest roach, I'll squish it before it gets within 10 feet of you. He smiled softly. You'll always be safe near me. From humans, from curses, and yes, from bugs too. Then, with a whisper of wind, he stretches one of his wings over your side, not fully covering you, just enough to create a warm, leaf-scented canopy like a little dragon tent above your head. Rest here whenever you need, he added, curling protectively around your space. Even the bravest hearts need a break from scary things. And in that moment, surrounded by his warmth, his size, and his steady presence, you weren't just protected, you were finally allowed to feel safe. Okay, that's cute. Again, I love this little dragon. Big dragon right now, but I still love him. Guys, it's not a good sign whenever this thing tells me about a bug and I start freaking out already. I have a huge fear of bugs, can you guys not tell? I can't even sit there and describe a bug without flipping freaking out. I can't look at a picture of one without freaking out. If I see one, I'm gone. Bye. I've had roaches crawl on my motherfucking face. I don't ever want to go through that crap again. That crap has got me. I just said thank you. Honestly, when did that bug land on you? You said you were only born for 3 days. Did it happen yesterday or 2 days ago or something? The massive emerald dragon blinked in surprise, then gave a tiny sheepish chuckle, his huge shoulders lifting ever so slightly as his wings tucked back just a bit in mild embarrassment. Oh, yeah, he said with a soft smile, golden eyes darting sideways. It happened, yesterday morning. He cleared his throat. I just learned how to fly more than 3 feet off the ground. I was so proud. I was soaring over this flower field near the valley's edge, wings out, feeling awesome. You know, like I was gonna impress all the older dragons. His voice dropped to a low, dramatic whisper, and then, out of nowhere, this horrible bug. Like 6 legs, twitchy antenna, the whole creepy package just lands right on my snout. He shudders slightly, his massive tail curling inward like he could still feel the ghost of it there. Ugh! I panicked, screamed like a hatchling, lost control of my wings, and crashed into a bush. He shook his head. The worst part? That bush was full of more bugs. Oh heck no, that's traumatizing. That's me as a dragon right there. Nope. I would be. He gave you a look, half exasperated, half amused. I may have yelled so loud, one of the crystal winged dragons came flying in, thinking I was under attack by a shadow beast or something. Turns out it was just me, falling like an idiot over one bug. Then his voice softened again as he looked back at you, smiled a little warmer now. So yeah, don't feel bad. I get it. You're not alone in the bug fear. Whether you're a tiny velociraptor or a 20-foot emerald dragon, those little things are horrifying. He leaned in closer again and gently tapped his nose near you with the tip of a claw. Careful not to touch, just close enough to offer comfort. If I see one near you, it's gone. Instant vapor. No mercy. And you could tell by the way his wing curved protectively over your side again, he meant that. Yeah, I need something like that in real life, just something to get rid of all the disgusting flipping motherfrickers. Give me a second, guys. Alright, guys, I said I can't thank you enough. I've always had a fear of bugs, but there's been a few times, at least two, where I've had woken up from sleep and had roaches crawling on my face. I've been traumatized ever since. I'm being serious, guys. That legit actually happened. Like I said, this is a mix of my own world stuff, Pokemon talk, and the real world stuff that I can do, like the roach fear. That's definitely coming in here. The dragon's warm expression melted into something deeper, not just sympathy, but a fierce, protective kind of sadness. His glowing golden eyes looked at you as if you had just told him a secret no one else had ever understood. His massive head slowly lowered until his snout rested gently on the ground beside you again, his voice now quieter, heavier, and heartbreakingly sincere. That's not just a fear, he said softly. That's a trauma. His wings curled in slightly, not out of fear for himself, but out of pure empathy for you. No one should have to go through that, he whispered. Waking up like that, with something crawling on your face, especially something as gross and unpredictable as a roach, that would scar even a full-sized dragon. He paused for a long moment, watching you carefully. You weren't just small in body, you were carrying something heavy, and the dragon understood that now more than ever. If I had been there, even then, his voice grew quiet, but strong, I would have ripped that bug off your face and torched it until it. Wait, hold on, I want to see what he said. It said, I would have ripped that bug off your face and torched it until not even ashes were left. Okay, well, I have a dragon that just said just told me he would burn a roach. Yep, I definitely need you. I wish I could have you in real life right now, dude. His tail curled around gently near you like a barrier, soft but unshakable. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry no one could stop it. I'm sorry that even now you still have to carry that fear like a weight every time you close your eyes. He slowly reaches out a single claw, not to touch, but to place it gently beside you in the grass like a vow etched into the earth. But I promise you, here, with me, that will never happen again. Not on my watch. No more crawling, no more waking up in terror. You rest. You shut up, as in the notification. You rest, you breathe, and if anything with more than 6 legs comes near your face, his voice grew low and powerful, not loud but like distant thunder. It'll wish you had never been born. Holy frick! Okay, I love this dragon. And then his tone softened again. You're not just brave for surviving that. You're a warrior. I say, a quiet one maybe, but one that keeps going even when the world gives you every reason not to. Yeah, in my universe, apparently so. He lowered his head back beside you, exhaling a soft breath that smelled like forest rain and wild mint. If it helps, tonight when you sleep, I'll be right here, wing over you, eyes open. No bugs getting through me. Then quieter, he added, even warriors deserve to rest without fear. And with that, he said no more. Just kept himself still, close, and ready to protect. Because for the first time in a long while, you weren't facing the darkness on. Okay, that's.
Really cute.
Alright, guys. It says, before I can say anything further, I heard multiple voices nearby, and one of them said, "Yeah, I'm sure. I know that Velociraptor came this way." Then I heard another voice say, "Okay, I can't wait to pelt the tiny creature with rocks. It's gonna be so funny." What kind of sicko psychopaths are these idiots? There's a tiny creature that's flipping weak as frick, and they want to pelt it with the rocks and think it's hilarious. That's like flipping. That's like seeing a flipping small little puppy, and instead of being nice to it and loving on it, you're over there pelting it with the rocks or smacking it across the face instead of caring. What the frick is wrong with people in my universe? What in the world? The massive emerald dragon's head snapped. If you interrupt me one more time, I'm going to. The massive emerald dragon's head snapped up instantly, his golden eyes narrowing in a flash of primal focus. He didn't roar, he didn't growl, but something deep inside him shifted, silent and deadly serious. His wings spread out slightly, casting a protective shadow over you like a living shield of emerald armor. His entire posture lowered, curved around you in a wide, protective crescent. Try not the bread, you idiot. Keeping you hidden behind the bulk of his body. You could hear the faintest hum building beneath his scales, a low, ancient energy like the heartbeat of the earth preparing to rise. "They're close," he whispered, his voice low and steady but filled with resolve. "I heard them too, and I'm not letting them touch you." Then he turned his head slightly, golden eyes locking on yours for one brief moment. Not scared, not frantic, but unmistakably calm. "Stay behind me," he said firmly. "Don't run. I won't let a single rock, a single word reach you." And then he stood, all the way, from 20 feet tall to 40, then 60, and still growing, his body rising like a living wall of jade and golden light. The leaves shivered, the wind quieted, the voices got louder. "See? I told you something was over here." "Yeah, let's get ready. Maybe it's hiding. Maybe it's hiding behind that tree." "Uh-oh." The dragon's voice now rolled like thunder through the trees, not yelled, but spoken with such weight that it shook bark from branches. "Take one more step." He pauses, and I'll show you what happens when you threaten someone under a dragon's protection. The forest went silent. You could see it from where you stood, safely behind him, his wings stretched high above the treetops, his scales glowing like green crystal, his chest rising and falling with steady power. No rage, no fire, just absolute, unwavering dominance. And then, faintly, panic scrambling. "What the? What is that?" Is that a dragon? Run! Run! The voices retreated fast. Oh, well, that's what they deserve. Thank you, buddy. Branches cracked, leaves scattered, and the cowards who once planned to pelt you with rocks vanished into the trees, screaming like little kids who just seen the sky fall. The dragon didn't move. Not yet. He waited and listened. When the silence returned and not a footstep remained, only then did he slowly lower himself back down to the earth. Not quite as small this time, still tall, still watchful, but calm once again. He turned his head towards you, lowering his massive face gently beside yours. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. There was no pride in his voice, no ego, just concern. He hadn't scared them off for glory. He'd done it for you. Okay, he's adorable. I don't care. That dragon could be 1,000 feet tall for all I care, and I think he'd be cute as frick just because he's doing that. Money! Alright, guys. I said, yeah. Thanks to you. Thank you for protecting me. They didn't get anywhere close to me. and I woke up right next to the massive dragon's snout and gently nuzzled him with my tiny snout. The massive emerald dragon let out the softest breath. Not a sigh, but a deep, emotional release, like your gentle nuzzle had just melted every last ounce of tension from his body. His enormous eyes closed for a moment, golden light shimmering through his eyelids. Then he slowly opened them again, gazing at you with something pure and sacred. Not just relief, but love. Protective, unshakable, unconditional love. I'm so glad, he whispered, his voice low but trembling with warmth. You're safe. That's all I ever wanted. He didn't move his head much, afraid even the lightest twitch might unbalance your tiny frame, but you felt the tip of his snout gently lean into your nuzzle. A warm wave of breath taking through his nostrils like a giant sigh of affection. I meant every word I said, he added quietly. No one, no one is going to hurt you again while I'm here. Not while I'm breathing. Not even a step closer. His voice dropped again to a quiet, protective tone. And if they ever come back, I'll grow as big as the mountains themselves if that's what it takes to shield you. His massive tail slowly curled around the clearing, forming a wide ring of safety, like a soft, living wall around you both, not trapping you, but guarding you from every side. Then, low above a whisper, he added, I don't care how small you are. You're the bravest creature I've ever met, and I'll stand beside you until the world learns it too. The wind swirled gently through the trees. The forest was peaceful again, but this time you weren't alone. You were next to a dragon who had chosen you, not out of pity, not out of duty, because in his eyes you were worth everything. Okay, that again, I love this dragon. He's so cute.